This is guitarist Dennis Tape, and I'm actually in my living room, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Bargain Bin Gear. And this time around, we're going to have a little, unofficial shootout between the Eventide H9 multi-effects pedal and the delay and reverb Specular Tempus pedal. The reason for this is because I own both pedals, and I come to the conclusion, just from trying out different things, that having both, for me anyway, might be overkill, and that I may want to consider selling one of them. Okay, now a real quick overview for those who aren't familiar with these pedals. The Eventide H9, in this particular, the Eventide H9 Max, has 52 different algorithms, and each algorithm can have, either, for example, delay or reverb or modulation effects and that kind of thing. And within those algorithms are presets, and there are 52 of them with the Max pedal. And it's quite an expensive pedal, really. We're talking probably, I think, $699, almost $700 new price. The H9 Max does all the delays from the time factor, Eventide time factor delay pedal. Okay, and also all the reverbs from the Eventide space pedal. Okay. Here's the deal. The Eventide H9 core pedal doesn't include all 52 algorithms. Okay, I think it's like 9 algorithms, or maybe 14 or something like that. Okay, so it's not a full Max pedal, but as a result, it's a lot less expensive. It's about $399 new. Okay, and I looked around and used, people are trying to get $325 out of them, so not much of a savings there, really. Especially with the possibility of easy pay or that kind of thing, where you pay a monthly fee payment towards the unit, without interest or that kind of thing. In any case, now here's the interesting part. If you own an H9 Max pedal, and then you purchase a core pedal, right, that has fewer algorithms, well, then you can upload all 52 algorithms and essentially have a H9 Max. Right? It turns the core into a Max pedal in the sense that you get all 52 algorithms. Okay, which is a great deal. And that brings it closer, the core pedal price, to the price of the Specular Tempus, which is a delay and reverb pedal. Okay, and it has some fantastic delays and things, and economically is really well priced. And I think it's about $349, about $350. And well, I thought to myself that maybe You know, maybe having both is overkill in that, you know, especially if they're doing the same kinds of things. And I was wondering, you know, can the Eventide, you know, H9, can it create the same kind of reverb sounds that you get and delay sounds that you get from the Specular Tempus? Right now, the Specular Tempus is known for these gigantic reverbs and things, you know. And so I have both here, and this is why we're in my living room, because I'm actually testing these, and I thought, well, I'll just make a quick video to share this with you, you know, what I'm doing here, rather than, you know, undoing everything and taking it into the studio room and so on. So just to give you an idea, here's the H9, and this is just a reverb pedal. And I'll tell you, from owning the Specular Tempus, what it did do is make me go back and look more closely at reverbs and delays, for that matter, on the Eventide, which I had kind of skimped over, you know, or skipped over, if you like. Okay, so let's take a listen to it. Running through a couple of little Fender X2 combo amps here. Okay, and so that's just a Eventide H9 preset that I had programmed in there, and it's real nice, you know, real organic, real natural sounding, and it can also do, I'm going to switch it here. You know, it can also do huge, you know, gigantic reverbs too. I mean, this kind of I'm trying to keep it down so it doesn't overload the little camera microphone there. So it's a real nice, huge sound, so it's very capable. Oops. Switch over to the Specular Tempus, and here's just an example of the Specular Tempus. Play kind of the same type of stuff. Capable of a lot more different sounds, and I'll switch them here. Okay, here's another preset, basically. Here's another one. Okay. Okay, so that gives you an idea. Now, the H9 is also capable of a lot more, different effects besides reverb and delay. So, this is what I've been contemplating. And before I go any further, let's do both together, okay? And for this one, I'm going to use the very first preset on the Specular Tempus and the H9 together. Let's hear that. Maybe a little less reverb here. Okay, so I changed the one on the H9 to a little bit smaller. The Specular Tempus. Now we're back to just the H9. So, to my ears anyway, and I mean, I've worked with it quite a bit, really, you know, and what I've found is that, to my ears, the H9, one, is capable of doing, you know, just as big a reverb sound as the Specular Tempus, but also, to my ears, it sounds much more natural, much more organic, if you like, or analog. To me, the Specular Tempus sounds a little more artificial, or digital, if you like. You know, now, you know, before you flame me and, you know, with a bunch of hate comments and whatever, I really think both pedals are great, you know, sound-wise. You know, so it's not to say that one pedal, you know, is worse than the other, but just what works for me, to my ears anyway. And I also found that more is not always better, and I found that the two together didn't give me the sound that I had anticipated, you know. You know, they're huge sounds, but so much so that they become a little bit unusable, you know, because they're so huge on there. When you add that together with this Eventide deal that you can buy an H9 core, right, for a lot less than a Max that has all the algorithms, and that you can get all the algorithms on the core, right, for a lot less, it's kind of makes no sense for me to keep the Specular Tempus. Now, so I was really thinking of selling it, and perhaps replacing it with another core pedal. Now they have a limit. I already have one core pedal that's turned into a Max because I own a Max, right? And they only let you do that, I think, with 3 core pedals. So I've already used one up. So this will be a second one, which leaves me one left. Now, sadly, Eventide has maxed out the H9 Max. They say that there's no more memory, that they cannot add additional presets or algorithms, I'm sorry. Right? That's just, there's no space. And also keep in mind that they will soon discontinue the core pedal, right? And when they do that, you know, unless you find a used one, you know, you can't take advantage of the easy pay, you know, obviously, and the hopefully they'll keep the program where you can still, you know, get all 52 algorithms, you know, because you own a Max pedal, the core. So for all those reasons, I just can't justify keeping the Specular Tempus, you know. And right now, you know, it's a pretty popular pedal, you know. But, you know, I don't have one of those little shelves, you know, where you display your effects pedals in the background. Which I think is a riot. I don't know if you've noticed that in YouTube videos, right? They always have a little shelf and it's got all the coolest pedals there, you know, being used, you know. I think that's alright. I think it's very funny. It is very much kind of like unboxing videos, you know. But I really think that I'm going to sell the Specular Tempus pedal, which is really surprising to me. I had such high hopes for the Specular Tempus, and it is great. I mean, don't get me wrong, but man, the reverbs on it are really great. But I discovered that the H9 can pretty much do the same kind of reverbs, you know. They sound a little different, but to my ears, the Eventide sounds, again, much more natural, much more organic. And delays, I already know. I've tried delays. You know, it's kind of weird on the Specular Tempus. I never quite bonded with the delay for some reason. Even at the correct tempo, you know, I would set the tempo and things. It just never quite worked for me as well as the Eventide delays, which I love, absolutely. Probably some of my favorites, for sure. Now, both units are very comparable in that they're both stereo. They both have MIDI. You know, just so important here. To go through all the different kinds of sounds and things. And the reason you get a second Eventide is, remember, it's got all these different sounds and things, but, you know, it's one effect at a time. So if you used one, you know, the Eventide for chorus sound, let's say, and you wanted some reverb on that chorus sound, right? I mean, you could get it from the Specular Tempus, the reverb, or a second H9 to do the reverb. So that's why you would have, you know, more than one H9 if you went that direction. So, something to consider, and, you know, the Specular Tempus is as expensive as an H9 core, or at least pretty close, you know. Remember, a core is $399 new, Specular Tempus about $350 new, you know. But it does a lot, and a lot of it does so very well, you know. But just for my setup and my purposes, you know, especially when I started to, you know, kind of edit some of the stock presets with the H9, I realized, oh my, they can do these gigantic reverbs and things, you know. And while it sounds cool, you know, for it to be usable musically, you know, a lot of times, you know, you don't want that huge of a reverb usually, you know. It kind of gets out of control, you know, and the guitar signal gets kind of lost in the translation. It's like, wait a minute, this is all effect sound, and where's the guitar? You know, so in that sense, you know, while the Specular Tempus can do these gigantic reverbs and things, you know, I found that the Eventide was actually more usable. You know, now I suppose it's all in the way that you program and, you know, presets and so on. But I found it very easy on the Eventide to do. And I mean, I've tried the editor on the Specular Tempus, and it's well laid out, and it works fine. You know, no problems there either. I really like both pedals, but they kind of overlap a little bit too much. For me, anyway. So I'm thinking, sell the Specular Tempus and get another Eventide pedal. Now, this is kind of, you know, the Eventide H9 has been out for quite a while, you know, and they're due for an update, especially since they've run out of memory and things, so I'm sure they're going to come out with another pedal, you know, and I'm sure it'll be fantastic, and it'll probably be multiple H9s in one pedal, you know, whenever they come out with that, who knows when, but that's definitely around the corner, and a lot sooner than expected, because they're still going to manufacture the H9, but the core they won't do anymore. And that's kind of the beginning of the end, if you ask me. But who knows? And I mean, I could wait and see, you know, but it could be a long, long wait, you know. I'm always very pleased with the sound quality of the H9. I mean, no matter what it's doing, you know, it's usually a really good sound, you know. Granted, I guess there's some sound effect type things that are kind of weird, but just sound quality overall, you know. So I really love that pedal. And the Specular Tempus, I think, is really, really good. I don't think it's as natural sounding as the Eventide, but is also capable of some really fantastic sounds, you know. And the other thing is, I also found that with the Specular Tempus, it's a little easier to get the gigantic reverbs and that kind of thing, editing-wise, you know. But if you use the Eventide H9 control software, you know, then it's basically just twisting knobs and things. And it's capable of so much, you know. Always very surprising, the sounds that you get. So anyway, these are things that I've been working on. So I think I've pretty much made up my mind. I hope I don't miss it, you know, which is always a possibility. But I don't think so. I think, you know, that it would be worth it to me, especially with the core option, you know, and still having the capability of loading all 52 algorithms, which just allows, you know, different sounds. So Specular Tempus, you know, I really like the idea, and the price of it is, you know, for the price of what you get, it's a darn good deal, you know, sound-wise. But, and I'll tell you, if I didn't have the Eventide H9, whatever, then I would, you know, I'd definitely keep the Specular Tempus. But when you have both together, for me, I just didn't get, you know, too much advantage running both together, you know, and I didn't really find sounds that I couldn't reproduce, at least fairly closely, on the Eventide H9. So it's kind of pointless, you know, to have both, I guess. You know, and unless I wanted to display it on my shelf of pedals, which I don't have, so. Okay. Very good. All right. See you next time. Bye.